Hello, this is Dale Matthews. You can see I have a whole new perspective, well, almost new. Welcome to Inside News, and here is Mike Jones. You have a different perspective also, Mike?
I don't know. It looks exactly the same to me, but okay.
All right. So
I do have a new perspective. Spent 2 days pulling my well out of my pump. That would have been a neat trick. I pulled the pump out of the well.
It's not a euphemism. He means that's what he was doing.
Yes, and it's the second time in like 2 or 3 years that I've pulled the frickin' pump out of the well. I don't like doing that myself, but what I like even less is paying somebody else $1,000 to do it for me. So
yeah. Okay. So we're going to begin with a little bit of news. This came from yesterday's Daily Courier, and it's a very interesting photograph here of Greg Walden, and he's come to. You'll note now. I just find the photograph fascinating because they don't have him necessarily. I mean, normally they'd move over to one side so that his hand's not almost leaving the screen. But it's super important to let you know that he's making a presentation about how all of our funding is drying up and you ought to listen to your county commissioners. And where is he making it? It's photojournalism at its best from the Daily Courier. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the Rotary Club point of view right there, all in one photo. And good night, everybody.
Okay.
So, all right, cool. Now, we try not to, every time we do this show, you could get pictures of Mike going, or me, or anybody, any video that we ever do. Hey, you cut up the videos. Yeah. Do you want to watch a 3-hour meeting? Yeah, you cut this up. Yeah. You've got things from various meetings. Yes, we do. And that would take you 6 hours to watch it.
Yes, ahead, and it's available via other sources out there. You could go look at that if you want to.
Oh, but you're totally different than the TV stations because they never give you a tiny. Of course they do.
No, the TV station. This is funny because you don't really think about this unless you think about the way we present stuff. We present stuff where there's like 15 minutes of a meeting or something like that, and we interject comments into it. Well, you might see the faces of. You may see the video of them without audio, with somebody talking over the top of it, and then you have one little soundbite that maybe lasts for 3 seconds of somebody saying, yes, and I don't think that's going to be happening today. And then that's it. And then you're reliant upon the commentator to tell you what just happened there. That's not what we do at all. So listen, anybody who's criticizing us for editing stuff is just out of their mind.
Well, my favorite is on the same day I got feedback from Facebook from one person saying, what, is this another one of those really, really long videos? It was 47 seconds. One of those really long videos, how come you can't make it shorter? Shorter than 47 seconds? And then someone else saying, well, why can't you show us the entire meeting? I'm calling upon you to show that because you're editing this. Yeah, well, we're somewhere in between.
Well, getting people to pay attention is hard. And, I guess you got to pare it down to, why don't we just watch it? And what we'll do is we'll flash a freeze frame of the video up on the screen, and then we'll say, this is what happened at today's meeting, yes, and let me tell you what to think about that. And then that would be it. And then they're done. Would they be happy then? No, they'd be complaining that, that's too much from you and not enough from them. Well,
now we sound a bit like we're complaining, but I'll tell you what the numbers are. The numbers are every week for this show, we get about 500 views. Okay, so it's one person watching and 499 from me. Okay, but we get a similar amount from the videos that we post that don't have any commentary. So we get a total of about 1,000 views a week, and just those of the latest stuff is, by extrapolation, since we're on every day of the week, 52,000 views a year. Okay. But we get almost double that from the stuff from the past. So we're at somewhere around 100,000 views a year. That's not just nothing.
Yeah, especially when you're considering that most 99% of all the viewership is taking place right inside this county, whereas most YouTube videos are at least geared towards a national audience, and
also we have almost no cats on our videos and just about no sex. So
yeah, right. Yes.
And it's local politics, fit for the whole family.
I think the only sexual contribution to this is the sexting scandal by Simon Hare. Yes,
and where he was caught up in Eugene.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, what we try not to do is to do that kind of thing with people. Great. That'll be the YouTube picks the still picture to put up as the thumbnail. When you click on it, they pick it. I mean, it happens, and you for sure that's going to be the one. So occasionally we'll put up something, and Mike will be going, and that's the best picture of all. Okay, and so well, that's the one we go with. But here's occasionally what I'll do is, I try to pick something. When Keith Eck is yelling at people or calling them names or whatever, it's hard to avoid him looking upset or harumphy. This is a fairly good example of Simon Hare was really fairly astonished. In fact, he said that he was, that anyone would accuse the commissioners of being unethical. How can you possibly say that? Right. But what we don't do is what the Associated Press did recently to Sarah Palin. Now, she's not my favorite person, but here's what they did to her. That's not fair. She's not a raving lunatic. Now, stop it. She's not. Okay? And that's just not right.
Yeah.
Now, I could get pictures like that every time with any of the people in our videos. Anytime.
Sure.
Because there's some point at which you're going to look something like this in a still frame.
Yeah. All you got to do is click through about 10 frames and you'll find something that looks, crazy, or your eyes are closed or whatever. I mean, it happens constantly, and we just don't notice it because we have full motion lives.
Well, we purport to, yes. Now, one of the things that was not hard to do, because Keith Eck was pretty much asleep and kind of falling over during that meeting, the joint city-county meeting. And, I mean, there was a whole section there where I could pick any part of it to show you. Well, we just played the video, and the old fellow was just about falling asleep during the meeting. So that's what you were paying for. So anyway, why do I have Yul Brynner over my
that's a good question.
Well, I have him over my shoulder because you all know what movie this came from. It's a pretty old movie, but at least it's in color.
Yeah, and it looks like he's just about to go after Moses and take him out or something.
Now, he doesn't look very happy, and he looks very, imperial, doesn't he? Does that remind you of anything? Now, but one of the things in this, besides the imperial attitude, which you've seen a lot of recently, is there's this scene in there. The special effects aren't that great, but you may recall that, they've been plagued, the Egyptians have been plagued by gnats in the room. Oh, no, that's us. They've been plagued by people who speak out of turn. Oh, no, they say that's us. Anyway, they've been plagued by uppity citizens who are trying to tell them, look, you're not treating us fairly. You're treating us like slaves. And stop trying to make us, stop trying to make us vote for a levy or whatever their problem was. Yeah. Anyway, there was some point at which there was this creeping kind of, it looks sort of like low-lying fog, and it was going through all of the city streets. And the only way to avoid having the firstborn being taken, very biblical if you think about it, was to paint blood, lamb's blood, on the outside of your door.
Yes, that's right.
And so it reminded me of that stuff that's spreading around, and it is spreading around. It's spreading around here. And it has to do with things like being called up in front of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, and it has things to do with two different complaints about the commissioners that are sticking. It has to do with people who are getting in trouble in various places. There's this, the people at this last Wednesday weekly business session, I don't think I've ever quite seen it that way. They're just about fed up to here. Now, that's not going to stick. That's going to go away and it's going to come back. But the more that you hear these commissioners saying, we're not guilty of anything and no one's found us guilty. What are you saying? Or no, we were never in the video where we were talking about how we were going to turn it over to an outside group and pretend like it was their idea. Yes, you were. But they even have their legal counsel about, oh, no, that's not on the tape. Yes, it is. So there are people who were speaking out. I don't like this. Personally, I don't like it. You don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. Because all I have to sit there is go, and then right here, you're making a face. Hey, just relax, right? But there were people who were calling out during the meeting, and Keith Heck was having a really hard time maintaining decorum. Well, one way is to set an example and don't call people dirty names officially by an official at a live meeting. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to start with something that happened Wednesday night at the city council meeting. And so to lay this out, I'll just say that there are many times where the people come up and do presentations to the city councilors. They do them, usually they're saying, oh, please do a presentation, we'll give you a proclamation, or sometimes they just come up and do a presentation, just a couple of people. And there are other times where a husband and a wife or a couple of friends or whatever will come up to the microphone. It's not, it happens fairly routinely, but it doesn't happen all the time. Usually it's one person at a time, but occasionally there'll be two people there, and it's not a big deal. It's not like chaos. Oh, there's two people. It's the end of the republic. I don't think so. Anyway, so I got up to say something. Mike?
And he's saying absolutely nothing.
I don't understand why this guy never can speak up.
Yeah, hang on just a second. Let me figure out what's going on here.
Let's give him another chance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Darren Fowler would like it better this way.
Probably so.
Now, keep in mind that people have, on a fairly routine basis, not every meeting, but they'll come up with a couple of people, and it's not a problem. Well, how about if I vamp a little bit and you'll tell me when you're ready? Okay. So my idea was to not break any rules because Darren Fowler has been very upset personally with me recently, and also generally with people who are the lunkheads out there in the community who didn't do as they were told and vote for a sales tax. Right. And so you've heard him say, well, the people don't have any good ideas. They don't have any good reasons. And Dandy Young, who I think is fairly likely that this guy is going to run for county commissioner. It looks more and more like he's going to do so. And he said that people weren't in favor of law enforcement. And what's that guy that's always telling the long blathery stories that are not true? Roy Lindsay, he was saying some, trying to tell us that, there are people that just won't listen to him and won't listen to reason and won't vote the way that they're telling them to. And pretty much the consensus among these Rotary Club members is that we're just not doing our part, that they're coming to us with all these options, these wonderful options that are really pretty creative when you think about it. I mean, it's not just one color of levy, it's a couple different colors of levy, and sometimes it's multicolored levies. And are we ready yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, well, okay.
Either we will be or we won't be.
Oh, I like it that way.
One of the two. Okay, here we go. Wow. That is not coming out here for some reason.
No, it's not. Well,
must have been all that messing around we were doing earlier today.
We were not messing around together. Now stop it, everybody.
No, it was something.
Technical stuff.
Yes.
Okay, Mike's going to work a little bit more on that.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so what I did was I got up, just in case this doesn't play, and if it does, then it'll be a pleasant reminder. I got up and I said, there are people in our community who are kind of looking forward to new people. They're looking forward to a different way of doing things. They're looking forward to, they believe that a number of you on the city council will be replaced. And I was careful not to mention anybody by name because they really get uptight when they do that. And I said, and maybe even the mayor. See, so I qualified that. And they're probably also looking forward to saying goodbye to 2 of the county commissioners. But what are we going to do for people who will step in to that vacuum that's formed by that? Where are those people going to come from? So what I did was, are we all? No, we're not ready. He'll tell me when we are. So I looked over my shoulder. I looked in one direction. There was Mark Collier, but Mark looked like he was kind of like not ready to say anything to anybody. So I looked back over my other shoulder, and there's a guy in the audience, and I said, sir, I don't know how you'd react to this, but I said, sir, can you come up here just for a second? And I said, it's going to be okay because there are people who come up sometimes as a pair, husband and wife. I'm extemporizing now.
Yes. Here. Let me just give this another shot here.
Okay. Here we go.
Because you might run out of
later that evening.
Something. Yes. All right. Stand by. There we go.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. So many citizens are looking forward to saying goodbye to a number of city councilors and perhaps the mayor, and also probably 2 out of 3 of the county commissioners. Then the question comes up, well, where are we going to find common sense people to come in and replace those? And I would posit that we've got plenty of common sense people in the city and in the county, probably in this room. No? You mind coming up here for a second? 2 people can come up because that happens all the time. What's your name?
Raymond Smith.
Okay, Ray, would you have voted, do you live in the city or out in the county?
No, I'm out Cave Junction.
Okay, would you have voted for a sales tax for Grants Pass if you had the chance?
No.
No. I think that qualifies him to be a city councilor.
Well, that's the humor part of it. Yeah, I think it does. I'm serious now. There was almost half joking, but I mean, the guy came up and he doesn't live in the city, but he wouldn't have voted for a sales tax. And that's agreeing with 78% of the Grants Pass people and a whole bunch more people, a higher percentage out in the county. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but behind me was a lady that was just loving this. And so we're just for fun. This is only for fun. We're going to play back that same audio and you get a chance to see the expression on this lady's face. I think it's priceless. Mike?
You want me to re-cue this?
No, that's okay. You just go ahead.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, would you have voted for a sales tax for Grants Pass if you had the chance?
No.
No. I think that qualifies him to be a city councilor.
Right. Well, that's just my little thing. There's a little lag in that, but she was smiling and smiling and smiling.
People like him.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what I've said, the only thing that I've said is that I asked this guy to come up and I said, would you have voted for a sales tax? Well, since you wouldn't have voted for a sales tax, in my opinion, that qualifies you to be a city councilor. Here's Darren Fowler's reaction. Mike?
Dale, this is your microphone. Would you please sit down, sir, so Dale can finish his public comment?
2 people come up. You just had 2 people come up.
That was during a proclamation, so please, Dale, this is your last chance to finish your public comment. 3 minutes tonight.
This is your last chance to finish your public comment, or you'll just have to sit down. So I knew what he was going to say. So go ahead, Mike, and here's my reaction.
If you're going to keep changing the rules, I'm going to sit down now.
This is not a rule. This has always been.
And a county commissioner as well. So think about running for those. Thanks to the new.
Thank you, Dale. Much appreciated. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
Why would anybody want to speak now? So there is somebody that wanted to come up and speak, and that was Rika Brown, who totally approves of this kind of things and thinks it ought to be done more often. Okay. But the good news is this guy, this Raymond Smith, good work, Mayor Fowler. He went out the next day and registered to run for county commissioner.
I'll be darned.
I've had a nice chance to talk to him since then, and I think he believes in exactly the same stuff that you and I have been saying on this show, Mike. I think he does. Okay. I've been wondering if there was somebody else that would run that would have the attitude of the first thing being, I believe that we ought to, people are saying, hey, I agree with you, that we ought to have a 4-year moratorium on any proposed new property taxes so that we can, win back the confidence of the people that don't think that you're only out there to try to take their money from them. So this guy absolutely, totally agrees. Okay, so now we're going to move over into the weekly business session from Wednesday. Go ahead, Mike.
Looking for appointments from the Budget Committee to represent the majority of the county. I don't think anybody in the audience can say that they represent the majority of the county either. The best you can do, and I apologize for the shortcoming, but it's the board that is representing as many people as possible and trying to make the decisions on behalf of the county. So I'm going to make the decisions and the selections I do, and you can disagree with them. And I encourage you to run for office and seek this position because it's a whole lot of fun sitting on this side of the dais. I tell you, good luck.
Maybe if he exercised dealing with the real world more and didn't, medicate himself with alcohol, he would be a little bit more prepared to deal with the stress of, being a county commissioner. And by the way, there is a cure for, not making choices that are supported by the majority of the citizens, and that is to change and start making your decisions more on the basis of what your constituents think.
Or you could resign from office.
Yeah, you could do that. It's not going to happen, but you could.
Next little clip from Simon here, please.
I took a pay cut to do this, and I'm really trying to do what is the best thing in my mind for the benefit of Josephine County as a whole. So if you think that there's another intention, then I encourage you to support somebody else for this position in the future, and good luck.
Wow. Boy, he's kind of repetitive in that, isn't he?
And good luck, right? Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck, because you couldn't possibly do it because I'm a Superman, and look at all the trouble that I have.
This is the same guy that kept saying, well, why don't you go file with the Ethics Commission, Mr. Matthews? Why don't you go file with the Ethics Commission? Why doesn't anyone go file with the Ethics Commission? So we did. And guess what? There you go. Thanks for these suggestions, Simon. Yep. I think he's got one more to say here.
Go ahead, go out there and run, and then you can make the appointments for Budget Committee and the Parks Advisory Committee and the airport and anything else you choose to do. But until that time, and you're sitting on this, and you've got a majority of the people who can put you in office, you're stuck with me and Mr. Heck and Miss Walker to make those decisions. So
he was your campaign manager.
That's a good point.
We have a process of decorum that we have recognized people who want to participate from the floor to be recognized. We're past that. I ask whether there's any other remarks that need to be made. Nobody raised their hand. So if you would, simple decorum would be appreciated. Thank you.
Well, simple decorum, Mike, like not calling people names and saying that you're a lying maggot and not saying that what you see on tape is not what happened. Go ahead. And what did the person say?
Yeah.
He said
Something
he
about
was your
campaign
campaign manager. Right. See, Jim Brumbach, you've heard us talk about Jim a lot.
Oh, yes.
Right. Jim Brumbach, according to some people, was the actual, not just the figurehead, but the actual campaign manager, especially among the mega churches, for Simon Hare. And Simon Hare didn't say, oh, no, that's not true. So that doesn't mean it is true, but he didn't say it wasn't true either. And so there are a number of people who are absolutely convinced, and they could be right, that Jim Brumbach was the real. It's kind of like saying, well, Ed Bowers ran the recall campaign against Sandy Casanelli. No, he didn't. He was the figurehead. The person, the big person behind that was the former chair of the Board of County Commissioners. He even left early in order to be able to go on this witch hunt against Sandy Casanelli, saying Casanelli, when she voted 90% of the time, yes. So, yeah, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. For example, just a small thing is that there's a lot of opposition to vaping. I've never been interested in smoking a cigarette or in these vapor cigarette things, these electronic deals. But it's interesting to me to note that it looks as if, and we'll do more research on this, that a couple of our state legislators have taken very large contributions from R.J. Reynolds. And they're standing up against any alternative to tobacco products. Gee, I wonder why. Follow the money.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I know because my son and many of his friends do that, and without the nicotine portion of the thing, I don't know good, bad, or indifferent, quite frankly, but this is what kids do. And a lot of people are leaving cigarettes for this stuff. And a lot of people that have left cigarettes for this stuff report that their lungs are clearing up. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that comes in with the smoke, in addition to nicotine, you know, messes your lungs up and probably gives you cancer. And I'm not saying that ultimately we're not going to discover that vaping somehow causes cancer down the road. It may well be. But the bottom line is this is hitting them. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to hear that a lot of interferences being run in the halls of government on their behalf.
Well, the thing that I find egregious about this, is that these are people who are saying, I'm for the kids and we got to save the health of the people, and you're taking money from R.J. Reynolds. Really? You don't see any conflict there, guys? Well, okay. Okay, so next we're going to show you some responses from Keith Heck. And Keith Heck was not at all happy with some of the things that were being said in the meeting. And you notice there were three different people. I don't like this. I don't do this. All I need to do is just sit there and go, hey, have some comments. Just relax, okay? But there were three different people who called out of order. And I believe that the reason that they're doing that is that they've just had it up to here with all this stuff. And you'll get a chance to hear what Keith Heck is saying that nobody believes. Well, go ahead, Mike. I don't think anybody does.
Usually I try to, the public comment is passed. So if you want to talk to us, you can make an appointment up in the office. It'd be fine.
It will be a federal thing.
The comment period is passed. So would you please refrain? Would you please refrain? Thank you. So I usually don't respond. I mean, make comments on this, but I'm just, my is getting.
He does.
We hear this popular hue and cry about the popular vote, popular vote, popular vote. Let's remind ourselves that Sandy Casanelli was recalled by about a 73% popular vote. So we'll get over that hurdle first before we start listening to other issues. That was a popular vote. It was a rather resounding recall from the position of county commissioner.
It was 71, but just,
71.
you know,
Who's quibbled
margin of error.
What a strange thing for him to bring up. I've talked with a number of people. Why did he bother even saying this? What's this about?
Yeah.
I think it was because a couple of people got up and talked about you ought to be more responsive to the population. I think so.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I don't know.
It was just odd. It was an odd thing I think it's kind of like that magician thing. Don't look over at this hand, look at this one over here. Try to, well, you think you know the bad things that we're doing. Well, what about your Sandy Casanelli? Why she was recalled? Okay. If that's going to work for him, I don't think it will, but all right. Next one, Mike.
The idea of not appointing Jim Broom back because he was a donor to my campaign. I mean, I have no idea. I assume he did. I don't know. If he did, it's all on Orstar's public record, and you can go on and check. And if he gave $100 or whatever it was, I don't know. It's there. But if anybody thinks that I can be bought and sold for $100, I mean, thanks. I mean, I'll go for a little bit higher than that, but that was only said in jest about going. I'm not going to be able to be bought. So make sure you're careful.
He was just joking, but the part that he's not joking about was when he was saying, well, I don't know if Jim Brumbaugh gave me any money. Please. No. And there are a number of movers and shakers in the community who money is funneled through them. We know this. You cannot prove it, but they talk about it and we hear about it. So we know that it's happening. Would anybody go on the record to say so? Are you kidding me? Of course not.
Yeah, not likely.
All right. So now Keith is going to try, if I'm right in the order of this, now he's going to try to say once again how nobody is guilty of anything in this life. Go ahead, Mike. I think that's what he's going to say.
The recall idea of linking our situation with Commissioner Bridenthal is a tragic comedy in that sense. I mean, he's under investigation for a $73,000 expense account for 3 years on travel expenses.
Doug Bridenthal, you want to take that one on, Mike?
No, not really. I don't know anything about Doug Bridenthal. I have seen the reports on the news about his the ethics investigation, and apparently the complainant in that particular situation is one of his fellow, inner circle Jackson County government people.
That's right. That's exactly right. And this guy's in some kind of trouble. And up until this time, that cameras keep bouncing. Sorry, I'll fix that later. Up until this time, Simon Hare would talk a lot about, I'm with Doug Bridenthal, working with Doug Bridenthal. Think about Doug Bridenthal. He doesn't say that anymore. Okay. So, so what Keith is saying is, well, just the fact that the Oregon Government Ethics Commission is looking into the ethics of a commissioner over in a neighboring county. Why? To equate, to say that there's any kind of connection is just this tragic comedy. Oh, really? No, it's not. It's spreading. That's why I've got Yul Brynner over my shoulder, because it's spreading. That thing is going out there, and these guys are all out of lamb's blood, and this thing is coming. And they're continuing to say, and you'll hear Keith say again, remember when he said, well, we never said that, we were going to collect any information and pass it on to somebody else, about the levy. Why would you laugh? Because we were totally not involved. We could see the tape. The same thing here. You've heard the tapes. We played them back for you from the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. And they were called by three of us, three different people. They said, yes, they were found guilty. They're in the penalty phase now. So the important thing to remember here is, and I think Mike can easily do this one because we've talked about this a number of times. Why is it that the Oregon Government Ethics Commission did not need to interview the individual commissioners once they saw the actual documents?
Yeah, all they had to do was see the agenda and see that it was the notification indicated that matters from commissioners, which is something that they can't put on there as just a catch-all for anything they want to talk about, which is clear that that's what they ultimately were using that for. And so they didn't need to interview these people to determine whether or not they were guilty or not. It's a done deal in that respect. There's nothing that these people can do to mitigate the findings there. The only thing that's going to happen from here on out with this situation is the penalty phase of it, and what and ultimately these people are going to get a slap on the wrist, because the Ethics Commission isn't really interested in putting anything out. They're interested in fluffing their resume in the same way that our county commissioners are interested in fluffing their resume. They can say, we dealt with this number of cases and we found some people that were guilty of such and such, so see, we're doing our job.
Well, that we've got increasing information, piled up information, that these guys are laughing about it or saying it's nothing or saying they weren't found guilty when they were told that they were. And so we've offered to send that to them to put it in the file, not to look at it, not to use it for the penalty phase, although I think they should, but just to put it in the file. They don't even want to put it in the file. They're done. They don't want anything more in that file. No one will ever read that in the file, but they don't want to put it in the file. So just really, how dedicated are they to making sure that justice is done? Zero. That's my opinion. So, but let's listen to Keith Eck explain to us again. I have to keep telling you, we're not guilty of anything. In fact, they didn't even interview us. They didn't interview you for a reason. You were given the chance to go there and you said you didn't want to. That's why they didn't interview you. You said you didn't even want your lawyer to call them on the phone during their session. So you're going to try to appeal on that until after the election? I don't think that's going to work. Mike, go ahead, play his response.
The three of us are under this recall process because on our agenda, on executive session, we have had in the past, it ended as soon as we became aware of it. It had other matters from commissioners on the agenda. That was the crux of the recall.
Recall. I didn't realize that they were being recalled. Have you signed that petition, Dale?
But it's a real good start. What a great idea this is. Yes, let's have a recall. Let's base it on the OGEC. One, that is not what it said on the agenda. Two, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission has seen the documentation, not just what was listed, but what they talked about. And the OGEC is going to look at this and say, well, wait a minute, you're talking about stuff that doesn't match with what you said. And you can't just put matters from commissioners, which is what it was. Not, for some reason, they've stuck on this idea of, well, let's call it other matters from commissioners. No, the OGEC came to a conclusion that it was a guise, G-U-I-S-E, that it was just a ruse, that it was just a makeup thing where they could talk about anything they wanted to, embarrassing things, and not even tell the people what they were going to be discussing. This is against the law. That's the reason that we all give them a little bit of leeway, because they're not supposed to take advantage of it and talk about embarrassing things instead of county business.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing, well, we weren't even asked to, you were asked to testify, you could do it, you told your own lawyer not to say anything, and that now you're going to try to use that as your excuse? I don't think that's going to work, bud. Go ahead, Mike.
So because it was not delineated in the agenda, this other matters from commissioners was the open door for all kinds of stuff to come out of our secret meetings and all those other kind of silliness. As soon as we became aware of it, it was removed. But that is the essence of the recall attempt.
Just Ethics Commission. I'm the only one under a recall right now.
Oh, yeah.
That was the open door for all kinds of other foolishness, Mike. And as he said last time, they're just throwing stuff against the wall and see what will stick. And none of this is even close to being true. That's the attitude you see over my shoulder. Even after the frogs and the snakes and the dying crops and the people, the hives or whatever it was. Nope, nothing is true. That's not going to work for them. And when it's all done, oh, well, that's the past. And there was really nothing to it anyway. And we've been, it's the liberal media that's taking us down this road. And it's just totally, we're brave soldiers in the fight for honesty.
Oh, yeah. We're the liberal media. Yes, boy. Caramba.
It's been on Facebook. There are people who accuse you and I of being the liberal media.
Yeah, well,
really,
listen, those are idiots that probably don't know the difference between liberal and conservative. So whatever.
Okay, he's got a little bit more to say. Go ahead, dig your hole deeper.
We're under investigation. The other point I had in there is the idea is that the commissioners on this particular issue, we've not been found guilty by the Ethics Commission. It is under investigation. We have not even been interviewed by the Ethics Commission yet.
Boy, they're really stuck on that talking point, aren't they? Yeah, you're not being investigated now anymore because that's all done with.
Right. Like that joke about Bill Clinton when he's on the witness stand. Are you having an affair with this woman? Looks around. He's in a courtroom. Not at the moment. Right. No, the investigation is over. They've said that. He keeps repeating, it's the big lie. The investigation is done. And here's the big question. The big question. If they've got more to say, why haven't they told because we've checked, why haven't they said anything to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission? We've got more to say. Why haven't they said that? They haven't. Not the last time that we talked to them, and that was 2 days ago. So if they've got so much more to say, and that's going to exonerate them, well, as Cheryl Walker pointed out, if they just talked to everybody that was there, they don't need to talk with everybody that was there, because because they've seen the notes from the meeting, and not just what they said they were going to, what they actually talked about. They've seen that, and they said, no, this is the illegal part. Well, we'd like to explain. What are you going to explain? We did an illegal thing and we didn't know. You can't say you didn't know. You keep telling us you did know. So what are you going to say? Well, we were misled by our legal counsel. Can't say that, because you already know what it is. And we told you, and they told you, and they told you, and they told you. There's no more investigation. Now it's just, are you going to get a tiny slap on the wrist, or are you going to get a slightly harder slap on the wrist? That's all that's going to be. We're the judges about this. Were they actually doing it? They were. So, we have explanations of why we're doing it. Good luck. Tell each other. Go ahead, Mike.
So if anybody wants to make a rush to judgment, get on that horse and ride it to wherever you want to take it. But it's out there, and everybody hues and cries on the thing, and so off we go. But that's all the remarks I'm going to make
for this week.
I don't even understand why they bother continuing to bring the thing up. Did somebody bring up this particular case during the public comment or something?
Yeah, I did. What I said was, I got up and I said, we're going to have new people in these positions, and the good news is that they're not going to be lying to us. We don't need to worry about how they're going to be in front of the Ethics Commission. It's spreading to Jackson County, this kind of thing. We don't need to worry about them calling us names at a meeting. Calling us names, that really bothers me. That bothered my money. My money. It bothered my mother when I was called a bastard. My mother did not like that. Would yours? By a county commissioner?
Stop bothering my money. That's why it's going to be a new.
Well, they're doing that too. But there's a lot of things that we won't. Why do we put up with any of this? Why do we put it up with this imperial attitude. It just doesn't make any sense to me that we've gotten into a situation where that happens, and we're kind of like, well, at least it's not me. Hey, thanks. So there will be some changes if we're fortunate enough to make what I consider to be the right decisions. Okay, and I'd like you to think a little bit about this. We're going to hear more about this guy. So far, I haven't found anything at all that any of us that watch this show or talk on this show, 100% of our hosts, there's two of us, the things that we've said, I can't find anything where the guy disagrees with us on even the smallest thing. Well, there's a start. That would be nice. And so maybe we've got a chance to say goodbye to this high-handed attitude. That would be nice. Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to remind everybody to get a hold of your recall form. You can download these, and we'll put a link in the description of this video. Or if you send us an email at badcounty@cpros.com, we'll send you a link to this form. All you have to do is print it out. You sign it, date it, print your name, put your address, and then fold it up, put it in an envelope, and mail it to Mark Kelsey. And his address is on the top of the form. And then you're done, and you have done your part. You don't have to chase down a signature gatherer, and that will help us to relieving Simon Hare of the tremendous burden of having to make these decisions, and
as he says,
we can
good
make
luck.
them ourselves.
Good luck.
And
yeah.
Yes, good luck, and good luck with that. That's right.
Hey, also, just one other thing. You may feel that that you don't want this guy recalled, and so you can send us an email saying that, and you could send us anonymously as you can if you wish to. There are some people out there who say, well, I don't think that we should. Well, the Association of ONC Counties. Why, he's the right guy in the right job. Okay, I think that says something about them, but that's my opinion. The only, because we report about politics, the only downside at the moment is it looks like Mark Kelsey is not, the recall coordinator, is not responding to anybody's questions about whether the numbers. Now, it doesn't mean he never will, but at the moment, people are asking, including me, including just about everybody, and he's not responding at all. I thought we'd give the guy a couple of days and maybe he'll come up with some numbers. So far, that's not worked. So I don't know. We know that he's there. We know that he's generally available because he runs another site, a Facebook site. And we see him there. Oh, well, here's something I think is pretty important. Well, this is kind of important too. So if you see this guy, take him out in the back alley. No, don't do that. Ask him, what are the numbers? Well, I don't know yet. That's not going to work anymore. We want to know what the numbers are.
Yeah, and listen, don't misunderstand this. This is not you have to tell us the numbers. These people want to know because they're interested in Simon Hare being recalled, and Mark Kelsey got to the punch there first, and kudos to him for that. Yep. But these people are interested in it, and you know what? If you're having trouble and you're not able to get the signatures that are needed for this, then I think a bunch of people would probably want to step up and assist in that process. But you're going to have to do some communication with them and let them know what's going on.
I think it's absolutely essential. So, we're not going to sugarcoat this. We just need to know. That's part of the job. If you're going to run it, you just need to tell us what the numbers are, because it should be at a certain point by now, or we're not going to make it. And this should be easy to do. But at the moment, it looks about as rosy as this guy does. Okay, so we're going to find out. And we'll have many more interesting and fun stories for you tomorrow, and most of them will be true. Mike?
Mm-hmm. Okay.